Tennessee got the first of 3 in-state wide receivers that it wants to be a part of this 25 recruiting class. What about Joakim Dodson and court dates tomorrow? We got a lot to get into here on a Monday at Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Vols. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. I'm your host, Derek Kane. Appreciate you guys coming in here, listening to us, downloading for free wherever you get your podcast, subscribing for free, and watching on YouTube. Appreciate you guys, you everydayers, making Locked On Vols your first listen. We got a lot to get into today. There's been some developments over the weekend in Tennessee versus the NCAA. That court date's coming up tomorrow in Greenville, Tennessee. We'll get into that in segment number 2. Joakim Dodson commits to the University of Tennessee. What is Tennessee getting in this in-state wide receiver? That's coming up in a matter of moments. And, of course, Tennessee lost on the road at Texas A&M. We'll get into that in segment number 3. So, Joakim Dodson. 6 foot, 175 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, where he attended Collierville High School. One of the better in-state athletes in the class, according to On3. He is the 10th best prospect in the state of Tennessee. And he's one of these guys that's going to be a high riser whenever they continue to update the rankings. Kind of a little bit of an unknown right now, but had a really, really strong junior campaign, or I guess it would be, junior campaign. And he's going to be coming in here and, is already a part of the class. He's now the 6th commit for Tennessee in the class of 2025. But the more and more he gets out of these junior days and the more and more he kind of puts on tape, I feel like when they update the recruiting ranking, he's going to shoot up. I mean, according to the On3 industry rankings, he's the 524th overall prospect in the country. So again, that's nothing in terms of recruiting bragging rights right now, but this is a guy that Tennessee staff coveted. This is a guy that Tennessee staff wanted, and they view him just as highly as they're trying to view Cam Sparks, just as they're trying to view Radarious Jackson, who's also an in-state wide receiver. Some of these other guys that they're trying to, get into this class. And so a lot of recruiting is spotting these guys early and getting them on campus and getting them to commit and signing them and then seeing what they're turning into. And then, 3 or 4 years later, if they turn into something, you can say, oh, well, Tennessee spotted him back when he was just a lonely 3-star. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he can be one of these guys, Joakim Dodson. But this is a guy that the staff really, really liked. And plus, got to put the clamps on the state here. You get a talented wide receiver that you like in-state. You don't want him going to Ole Miss. You don't want him going to Arkansas. You don't want him going to somewhere else like Missouri or, heaven forbid, going to Memphis. If you want him, you need to win him, and that's what the University of Tennessee did right here. So, Joakim Dodson, wide receiver, 6 foot, about 175 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee. He's now joining the class of Tennessee prospects that includes George McIntyre, quarterback, tight end Jack Van de Solaire. You got running back Justin Baker from Buford. You've got Dylan Lewis, cornerback. You've got Tyler Redmond, cornerback, both from Milton. And now you have Joakim Dodson, again from the Memphis area. And Tennessee now has 6 commits. Currently, it's early on, sitting at number 11 in the national rankings for the class of 2025, 6th in the SEC. What about Joakim Dodson? Joakim Dodson? That's what I said. Joakim Dodson. Joakim Noah is what I keep thinking every time I say Joakim Dodson. Joakim Dodson. What did he have to say about joining Tennessee's class? Well, he caught up with Austin Price over at VolQuest.com. You can check out that full interview over at VolQuest.com. But he said, hey, most of it came down to relationships. That was big for me in this recruiting process. I feel like I should have been building this relationship with Coach Mack, Coach Pope, Coach Hype for a long time now. Coach Jerry Mack, who we'll have more on in segment number 2, recruits the Memphis area a lot. It just felt like the right fit for me with the support staff and for me personally in the offense. I just felt it was an easy decision. He goes on to say what they're getting in him. They're getting a dynamic playmaker. Tennessee's offense is built on a lot of grass and making plays on the grass. Just a vertical threat who is very dangerous with the ball in his hands. On Kelsey Pope, he says, honestly, my dad taught me the game playing wide receiver, so with Coach Pope, when I hear him talk, it sounds the same. He is big on the details, and the details is what gets guys open down the field and stays open. That was big for me. And then finally on Josh Heupel. I love everything about Josh Heupel. The offense he runs is crazy. Just the space, making plays with the ball in your hands. He is just an overall great dude. So check out that full interview with Joakim Dodson over at volquest.com. So now that you got Joakim Dodson in the boat, again, I've already mentioned these names a couple of times. There's 3 guys Tennessee really covets at wide receiver when they're trying to take 4 guys at that spot in this class. They want to take 4 wide receivers. Well, in state, you got Joakim Dodson. You got, of course, Cam Sparks. And then you have Radarious Jackson, who won the Mr. Tennessee Football Award for his classification, also from the Memphis area. Again, you're not hearing much about Joakim Dodson. You're not hearing much about Radarious Jackson, but you will. I promise you that. And, of course, we've heard Cam Sparks' name for years now. Those are the 3 in-state wide receivers that Tennessee wants to take. And then if you get all those guys, you can swing for the fences. You can take big cuts for, top 10, top 15 blue chip prospects at the position, moving forward in the class. And so, we'll see exactly what that looks like. Are you looking over the impact analysis from Matt Ray over at volquest.com? And he kind of broke down the commitment of Joakim Dodson. This is from Charles Power, Director of Scouting and Recruiting over at On3. This is what he told VolQuest about the commit for Joakim Dodson. Joakim Dodson first came on my radar and flashed to me when I was watching some of Collierville's early season games last fall. He had a number of fantastic grabs in those games. This was kind of his coming onto the scene as a Power 5 prospect. I think first off, he is a functional, coordinated mover. When you watch Dodson run his routes, he shows good burst, good acceleration, good lateral change at the direction, and at the top of his routes, I think he projects as a guy that is going to be able to separate with his route running ability and functional and movement skills. I think he knows the ability to attack all areas of the field. This is a guy who is multi-phase ability as a wide receiver. In addition to his route running, he shows the ability to win the catch point. He can elevate and hang on the air and come down with some contested catches in traffic. Also shows the ability to track the ball over his shoulder once he creates that separation down the field, and he can work over the middle and pick up yards as well. I think he is a well-rounded skill set. So that's some good stuff there. That is some really, really good stuff there from Charles Power over there at volquest.com from Matt Ray. Again, I mentioned Cam Sparks. I mentioned Radarious Jackson. Those are the in-state guys Tennessee's all over. Now, taking those big swings, okay? I mentioned, Tennessee, if you can get those 3, you can take big swings and try to get a 4th guy in this class. Guys like Caleb Cunningham, Jamie French, Marcus Harris, some of the higher profile names in this class. Malik Clark, Travis Smith, Corey Sims. Those are some other names at wide receiver that Tennessee is potentially in. So, again, Joakim Dodson, 6 foot, 175 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee. He is not highly rated right now, but he joins Tennessee's class. He is the 6th commit of the class of 2025, joining quarterback George McIntyre, tight end Jack. I had his name earlier, and now I forgot how to say it. Jack Van Dorselaere. Yeah, we'll do it again later, guys. Sorry about that. Justin Baker, the running back. Cornerbacks, Dylan Lewis and Tyler Redmond of Milton. And, of course, Joakim Dodson, wide receiver. So, good stuff there. Tennessee started the weekend off pretty well. About a 1 p.m. Eastern time commits on Saturday afternoon for the class of 2025. You'll take that every single day of the week. All right, when we come back, latest developments in Tennessee versus the NCAA. The preliminary court date is for tomorrow. What's going to happen? All that and more coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn, it isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals that you can't find anywhere else. Plus, LinkedIn does all this while making the process easy and intuitive. Plus, hiring is easy when you have as many qualified candidates as LinkedIn Jobs. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. That's not bad at all. Post your job for free over at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That is linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Latest developments, Tennessee versus the NCAA. That is coming up next. Don't forget, some mailbag edition of the show. That is coming up on tomorrow's show. So any questions, comments, concerns, let's get them. @_Kaner, @LockedOnVols. We will talk about it on tomorrow's show. Okay, so a couple things have happened since last we spoke here on Locked On Vols. As the preliminary court date for the state of Tennessee with Virginia attached against the NCAA, that is tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, in the Eastern District of Tennessee, which will be in Greenville, Tennessee. They've been advising Tennessee fans, though you love the passion, do not come, do not support, do not have a Vol walk, do not checker Greenville. The talk is that would not help things, even though I would love to see that. That would not help things. So just passing along a message has been told to some of us in the media. Fans don't come. But anyway, that's happening tomorrow. What else has happened since last we spoke? Well, Josh Heupel has filed a declaration, much like what Athletic Director Danny White has done, much like what Spire co-founder James Clausen has done, much like Tennessee offensive lineman Jackson Lampley has done, essentially filing a declaration to say, hey, if you need me in court, I'm here. I'm here and would love to speak on behalf of Tennessee on how there should be the restraining order against the NIL rules at this time. So, again, I mentioned some of the others, Danny White, Jackson Lampley, James Clausen, Andrew Schwartz has also initiated a declaration. According to a Knox News, or Adam Sparks at Knox News, when he kind of wrote this story on I guess it was Saturday, maybe it was Friday, Heupel calls the current NIL environment complicated for everyone involved and says the rules frequently change and they sometimes conflict with NCAA's prior guidance. Again, we've seen from Donde's letter or from Danny White's statement or from Tom Mars and some of the stuff he's been putting out here in the last couple of weeks. The guidance, in quotation marks, was a 437-page manual from the NCAA that is filled with vulgarities. It's filled with vague writing, things that have often changed since the time that manual was handed out to NCAA member institutions. And again, it's buried in 437 pages. And what Josh Heupel's saying, a lot of what's in that manual conflicts with what you're saying because you keep changing the rules and it makes no sense. So, we'll see what happens. Heupel also argued it's more complicated. Player making an uninformed decision on NIL could lead to poor decisions, which wouldn't easily be fixed. Let's see here. This is from Josh Heupel. Harms like these impossible to fix after the fact. You only get one playing career and you cannot go back in time. These harms can drastically alter the course of an athlete's college education and their professional career, whether as a professional athlete or in another industry. Many of these players don't go on. So many of these players don't go on, I guess, meaning the NFL. So these 4 to 5 years are all they get. We need to put them in position to make the right choice and to make the most of their opportunities. So Josh Heupel, again, just like Jackson Lampley, being used as a resource if needed. Quote, only a small minority of student athletes go on to play pro because of the risk of injuries in college sports. An early NIL deal could be the best or only NIL deal they might ever secure, end quote from Josh Heupel. Another thing, recruits often don't know, like we do, the reputation and trustworthiness of who they are working with. Without that information, they can pick a school that just isn't the best fit for him based on false promises of NIL that never came to fruition. So fighting for these NIL rules to go away, essentially what we've been talking about for weeks, guys, the fact that, oh yeah, you can talk to your, as a prospective student athlete, you can talk to the collective, but you can't talk about money. What? That makes no sense. How in the world can you say you can talk to the collective, but you can't talk about money? Makes no sense whatsoever. So Josh Heupel has filed a declaration, and we'll see if he's used. We'll see if he's called upon. We'll see what happens in this regard. But Josh Heupel is the latest one to join the fight. I'll say this, though. With Josh Heupel inserting himself into this fight, if we're at a press conference and somebody has a question about name, image, likeness, you can't skip over it now. Can't. You literally can't. I mean, you can't skip over it now. You got to sit up there and you got to answer these questions. Also, what's happened, Tennessee has put on retainer a powerful lawyer in case the University of Tennessee is going to file a lawsuit. Remember, guys, to the best of my understanding, now, we talked about this, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not trying to be a lawyer, but to the best of my understanding, what we got right now is the state of Tennessee, okay, filing a lawsuit against the NCAA. Virginia is attached. Depending on what happens in court tomorrow, Tennessee, the university, could file a separate lawsuit. Spire Sports could file a separate lawsuit. You got a couple different things here. So Tennessee, again, as being the university, is being proactive and getting all of its ducks in a row. And by doing that, it put on retainer a very powerful lawyer. William Bill Burke is his name. According to Knox News, again, Adam Sparks was all over this weekend. According to Knox News, Tennessee has William Bill Burke on retainer. And as it continues its file with NCAA regarding name, image, likeness rules, Burke is a powerful lawyer. This is from the story written by On3's Nick Schultz. Burke is a powerful lawyer who served as a special counsel for President George W. Bush and was also involved in the case that sent Martha Stewart to jail. In addition, he represented New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft during his career. So we know Martha Stewart's, what happened with her. She was on house arrest, went to jail a little bit. We know all about Robert Kraft in the last couple of years. George W. Bush on special counsel for the President of the United States. Okay. Sounds like this guy knows his P's and Q's. So for Tennessee to have William Bill Burke on retainer, I just think, again, that just shows what the NCAA's up against. Spire Sports has got Tom Mars. University of Tennessee has got William Bill Burke. If this is turning into a battle of the courtrooms, depending on what tomorrow looks like, if Tennessee files a separate injunction and all that, this could get spicy. And Tennessee is well equipped. The university is well prepared. So is Spire Sports to go in there and whip some tail. So this should be interesting. So Josh Heupel files a declaration. You have Tennessee putting a powerful lawyer on retainer if needed, and those are the latest developments. Again, you've got NCAA versus the state of Tennessee. Okay, that is tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, Eastern District Court, Tennessee. It's in Greenville, and we'll see what comes of it. We will see what happens from this, and depending on who wins, the appeals that will happen, how long this will drag out. Everything starts tomorrow. Everything truly, just like Brent Hubb said last week on the show, everything truly starts tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. And then finally, I do want to make mention again. Hey, it's yesterday was the Super Bowl. You guys know it. I record a day ahead of time. Should be a national holiday. In fact, I've got too much work to be doing on this national holiday, Super Bowl Sunday. So at the time of this recording, early Sunday afternoon, things could have changed and transpired. But I do want to make mention that at the time of this recording, it's not official, but it does look like that Jerry Mack is heading to the NFL. Tennessee running backs coach Jerry Mack, who's been a part of Josh Heupel's staff, since coming to Knoxville, former head coach, at times in his career, former offensive coordinator, a guy that I think was not one of the core guys that was with Josh Heupel, like the Ellerbys, the Golishes, the Halsleys, even Kelsey Pope, Cody Burns, who he hired to come to UCF with him, ended up taking the Tennessee job and then brought Kelsey Pope too, but Cody Burns with him. It's not like he had coached with him before, but he still kind of came with him, if you know what I'm saying. So, Jerry Mack was never part of that group, but Jerry Mack was valued by Josh Heupel when he was looking to assemble his staff. Jerry Mack, in my opinion, is one of the few guys on staff, and this is alarming, but in my opinion, Jerry Mack is one of the few guys on staff who works at recruiting and who gives it his best effort. And I'm sure he enjoys it. I'm sure he likes the relationship building process, but there needs to be more guys on staff like Brian Jean-Marie and Jerry Mack, in my opinion. Really does. Not enough guys on this current staff are go-getters in recruiting like those two. So at the end of the day, and I mean this is no disrespect, and I'm not a football coach, so clearly they can put me in my place. At the end of the day, though, you're losing a running backs coach. Chris Weinke coached running backs here at Tennessee, albeit those teams weren't very good under Jeremy Pruitt. But my point is, it's not like you have a quarterbacks coach. It's not like you have a defensive backs coach. It's not like you have an offensive line coach. So much value there, but a lot of times running back coaches or just to get a guy on staff, if you will. And again, that sounds so disrespectful, and I don't mean it for it to be that way, because I think Jerry Mack brings so much more than just coaching the running backs. Jerry Mack, again, former head coach, good recruiter, great relationship builder, just another resource, because he's been in the big chair before. Just another resource for Josh Heupel to call on, I think, is huge. So, looks like he is going to the NFL, and that's another bigger conversation, though, and I'd love to have on the show. It's, you see Chip Kelly going from a sitting Power 5 head coach, okay, in the Big Ten, to quitting to go be an offensive coordinator in the same conference. What world are we living in right now? Welcome to college football 2024, when head coaches just want to get out because it's so aggravating. You don't coach football. You're a CEO. I mean, you literally, you're not doing it for the reasons you got into it. And you have Chip Kelly, who's leaving a head coaching job and taking a massive pay cut to go be an offensive coordinator at Ohio State in the same conference because he doesn't want to deal with all the crap anymore. You had the Boston College head coach leaving to go coordinate the Green Bay Packers. Now you have, Jerry, I mean, you're seeing it all the time. You had Jerry Mack at Tennessee, likely heading to the NFL, Jacksonville Jaguars, just because there's so much crap going on now. It's a bigger conversation, but you're going to see more and more of that because of just the chaos that is college football right now. So if this does become official, which I would assume maybe by the time this airs it would be, but, over the weekend it was looking like he was the leading candidate. It is likely that he's heading to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll continue to see if that for some reason wouldn't happen. That'd be huge because Jerry Mack, again, I think brings a lot of value. I like Jerry Mack a lot. He's always been kind to me, so best of luck to him. If he were to go, I don't think Tennessee would go the VFL route, meaning I don't think Tennessee would go Montario Hardesty. I don't think Tennessee would go Jay Graham. If Tennessee or Josh Heupel were to promote from within, like he normally does, look for a name in Max Thurman to maybe be the guy in-house. So we'll see what happens. All right, when we come back, we got to talk about it. Tennessee basketball, not the greatest day in College Station. We'll talk about it here when we return on Locked On Vols. Get buckets with your first bet over at FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and a whole lot of more. We talked about, with Super Bowl that just wrapped up and how much fun it was doing those prop bets. And maybe you were new to FanDuel Sportsbook and you started with those prop bets because it was something simple and something to focus on and you enjoyed it. Well, it doesn't stop with just the Super Bowl, okay? You can get on the NBA, college basketball, whatever the case may be. If you're new to it, check out those prop bets. You can do everything and more over at FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel.com/lockedon to shoot your shot. FanDuel, its official sportsbook partner of the NBA. We'll talk Tennessee basketball when we return right here on Locked On Vols. All right, Monday morning, Twitter Tuesday is coming up tomorrow, so don't forget to send in those questions, those comments, those concerns at _Caner at Locked On Vols. Got to talk about it. It was not pretty. Tennessee falls 85-69 at Texas A&M. Now, big picture here. A lot of us, prisoner in the moment. Fan is short for fanatic. I get it. Doesn't make the loss any easier. I'm not trying to make excuses. But basketball, you lose games. It just is what it is. Look at Auburn. It got its butt whipped at Florida yesterday, just like Tennessee got its butt whipped at A&M. That's college basketball. It is very difficult to win on the road in college basketball. North Carolina had a big win last week, turned around, lost. Houston had a big win last week, turned around and lost. Just college basketball, especially this time of the year. So, we'll see exactly how Tennessee responds from this. But it was not competitive. That's the biggest thing. Taking a loss on the chin is what it is. You take a couple of those every single year. But it wasn't even competitive. A&M jumped out, led by as many as 22 at one point. Had a 9-0 run earlier in this basketball game. Came out and shot 11 of 13 or 8 of 12, I believe, or 8 of 11 from three-point range to begin the game in the first half. I mean, what are you going to do? It was already a team that's a really good rebounding team. and you expected Tennessee to lose the rebounding battle overall, and it did, 43-35. It did as well on the offensive end, 14-12, but that was a big marked improvement from where Tennessee was against LSU earlier in the week. This is what it is. And when Tennessee shoots 37% overall in the game, when Tennessee shoots 28% from downtown, and when Tennessee continues to not make your free throws, Rick Barnes said, hey, they're a good basketball team. We're a good basketball team. It's college basketball. It happens. The reason we lost this game, though, is because of not making your free throws and then giving the basketball right back to them, creating extra possessions. Tennessee is not a very good free throw shooting team. And that's unfortunate because, they're just gimmies. Tennessee was 15 of 25 from the charity stripe. Good enough for 60%. It's not good at all. You had Dalton Connect that scored 22 points, 6 of 15 shooting. You had Zakai Ziegler, who played all 40 minutes. And Rick Barnes was just trying to get him out of the game, trying to sit him in that basketball game. And he said, no, I'm good. I'm not coming off the court. Zakai Ziegler plays 40 minutes, scores 15 points, and has 6 rebounds and 6 assists. He is continuing he's just continuing to have such a great year. The irrelevant players, as some people might call them, hilarious. Considering Zakai Ziegler is one of the best point guards, not only in your conference, but in the country, just continues to look great. 15 points and again, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. My biggest takeaway is this. Yeah, defense was pathetic a little bit last night. I think Jordan Gainey had a really bad game, or the other night, but I think Jordan Gainey had a bad game. But with anybody with a pulse, your seniors have got to help you out. Look at the Kentucky game. Josiah Jordan-James went off. I'm not expecting you to do that every game, but you can't score 4 points on 2. At least you're shooting more. You can't score 4 points on 2 of 7 shooting. If you're Santiago Vescovi, you can't score 5 points on 1 of 6 shooting. You have got to impact the game. You've got to impact the game if you're Santiago Vescovi or if you're Josiah Jordan-James, with anybody against a pulse, because you can't just rely on Dalton Connect. You can't just rely on Dalton Connect. Is what it is. I thought Jonas Adu did not have a good basketball game. I thought Jordan Gainey didn't play well. Tennessee didn't shoot well. Tennessee didn't defend well. Tennessee didn't hit its free throws. Just was what it was, man. It's one of those games. It's basketball. It happens. A loss like you happen in football, it's a huge deal. You don't want to lose in basketball, but you lose more in basketball than you do any of the sport, right? It's just part of it. I do want to throw out some stats to you. Jimmy Dykes on the broadcast last night was talking about how Dalton Connect just looked really tired. I've made that comment a little bit before as well, but it almost made it seem like he's going to fall off here in the last little bit of the season. I don't know. Dalton Connect, if he's so tired, his last 4 ball games, 31 of 72 from the field, that's 43%. 11 of 29 from three-point range, that's 38%. 22 of 33 from the charity stripe, that's 67%, which is not good. But he scored 96 points. 34 of the 96 points have come in the final 4 minutes of the ball game. So Dalton Connect is doing just fine right now. Doing just fine. Dalton Connect in his first 6 SEC games, 59 of 88, 67% from the field. 18 of 39, 46% from three-point land. 32 of 41, 78% from the charity stripe, 168 points. Dalton Connect is on fire. He continues to be on fire. Sure, he's tired because he's doing a lot, but I don't look for him to be slowing down whatsoever as we continue on in the conference schedule. Brent Hubbs of VolQuest.com had this stat, the Zakai Ziegler effect. Okay, Zakai Ziegler in wins this year. He's shooting 46% from the field. He's shooting 39% from three-point land. He's shooting 75% from the charity stripe. Zakai Ziegler in losses this year, 31% from the field, 21% from three-point land, 58% from the charity stripe. Now, again, Zakai Ziegler scored 15 points for you yesterday, but that was on 5 of 15 shooting. And again, he was 4 of 7 from the free throw line, 1 of 8 from downtown. So even though he had his 15 points, it wasn't a fantastic night shooting the basketball. So Zakai Ziegler again, and wins 46% from the field, 39% from downtown, 75% from the line. In losses, 31% from the field, 21% from downtown, 58% from the line. Zakai Ziegler needs to be good. Well, needs to be better, for Tennessee to win basketball games. That's a really, really good stat in terms of how Zakai Ziegler goes, Tennessee goes. And maybe the A&M game was a look into the microscope for that. So, nonetheless, Tennessee's going to need a rebound. We continue to talk about this 3-week stretch. Well, week 1's over. You got 2 weeks left. Need to pile on the W's. And continue to pick up those wins because the final 2-week stretch of the SEC regular season, it's going to be tough. All right, Twitter Tuesday. That is coming up tomorrow. Give me your questions. Give me your comments. Give me your concerns. All that and more. It's @_Kane or @LockedOnVols. We'll see what happens with the court date tomorrow. We'll preview and talk a little bit more about that going on Tuesday's show. State of Tennessee versus the NCAA. Joakim Dodson commits. And, of course, Tennessee basketball trying to get off the floor. All that and more. We'll continue the discussion on Tuesday's Locked On Vols, plus your mailbag questions. Appreciate you guys for making Locked On Vols your first listen each and every day. I'm Eric Kane, and we will talk again tomorrow.